Good evening from the southwest of Sydney. It is AFC Champions League Two, matchday 5. Business end of Group E as Macarthur FC host Taipo FC of Hong Kong. A hot afternoon at Campbelltown Stadium. Here's a look at how the group shapes up. Macarthur, with a win tonight, will be guaranteed progression through to the knockout rounds. Taipo can significantly revive their fortunes should they win, similar to how they did on match day 1 when these teams met in Hong Kong. It is cooled to 28 degrees. I can assure you it does feel warmer, only a light breeze, not much to cool the players, but that temperature will hopefully continue to drop as the night continues. Loyal fans of Taipo, both travelling and based in Australia, have made their way in to the away bay. Taipo coming off a 1-0 win against Eastern District in their most recent league fixture on Saturday. They've actually won 5 and drawn 1 of their last 6 in the league. But after the excitement of beating Macarthur in the opening group game of this AFC Champions League Two tournament, they have lost their way somewhat and now found their way down to the foot of the group and in need of a big finish in order to find a way into the knockout rounds. There is Taipo in the tunnel. They're wearing black armbands, as are Macarthur, and we will hear more about that in pre-game with a moment of silence, but I can tell you that the reason for the black armbands for both teams are to honour the victims of the Taipo district fires that have so far claimed dozens of lives, and there are hundreds of people missing, and our thoughts are with everyone currently affected by that ongoing situation. Macarthur wearing the darker colours as the home team. They were most recently over in New Zealand in the Australian A-League, playing away to the Wellington Phoenix on the weekend, a 1-0 win for them. So they bring strong form here to a stadium where they've won 2 from 2, and those home comforts have served them well, putting them in the box seat to qualify from the group should they win tonight, and should the other match kicking off in just under 5 hours from now between Kongan Hanoi and Beijing Guan end in a draw, then Macarthur will be guaranteed top spot before they travel to Beijing for the final group game in a couple of weeks' time. However, a draw or a loss will perhaps leave Macarthur in an underdog position, especially if there is a winner between Kongan Hanoi and Beijing Guan later tonight. Taipo lost 3-0 to Beijing Guan in their last game. So the AFC anthem will welcome both teams out onto the pitch on a warm evening at Campbelltown Stadium. Here come Macarthur FC and Taipo FC. So both teams lining up as part of the formalities. The AFC anthem is observed during the walkout, and now that the teams have lined up, it's time for the AFC Champions League Two anthem and a look at tonight's participating players. So that moment to pause during the Champions League anthem and have a close-up look at the two competing teams for tonight's Matchday 5 encounter. And so the handshakes continue as part of the pre-game formalities. Let's take a look at the lineups. Macarthur completely unchanged from the team successful 1-0 away to Wellington in the Australian A-League at the weekend. They've added players to their extended bench. Franz Deli, Dean Bosniak, Zane Helway, Josh Lackas and Will Mackay all join the substitutes. No omissions after the weekend's game. Tonight's officiating crew is from a number of different nations within the AFC. Oh Hyun Jong is the central referee, assistants from Thailand and the Kyrgyz Republic, and the fourth official from Korea as well. Taipo have made 4 changes from the team that won 1-0 against Eastern District in the Hong Kong Super League on Saturday. Patrick McHale, Australian James Temulkovsky and Weverton are the 4 inclusions, and it moves Koki Law and also Remy Duyadin to the bench. His brother is also there on the bench with him, Alexander Duyadin. Coin toss taking place between the two captains. That's Gabriel Civadini, the captain of Taipo. And Luke Bratton, of course, the captain of Macarthur. And the players are going to observe a moment's silence before the match kicks off for the victims and those affected by the apartment fires in the Taipo district of Hong Kong. And so the match officials and players will take it from here as far as observing that moment's silence.
Ladies and gentlemen, may we kindly ask you to stand for a moment of silence in memory of the victims of the recent tragedy in the Wang Fuk Court fire disaster in Taipo district in Hong Kong.
So the moment observed, and our thoughts are with those affected. So to the matter of the match at hand, and as Phil Moss joins me in commentary for this one, Mossy, the rewards for Macarthur are obvious. Taipo, a draw doesn't help them a great deal. They need to win tonight. They need to shock Macarthur again if they want to keep their hopes of progression genuinely alive going into the final day.
Good evening, Teo. Yes, indeed. And you said it's a match in hand. Well, their fate is in their hands for the home side, Macarthur. But as we saw over in Taipo in that first game, they did manage the shock. And anything's possible tonight, so Macarthur will have to put their A game out there.
And certainly meetings between Australian clubs and Hong Kong clubs are rarities. In fact, they're rarities in international football at any level. So as the countdown concludes, can Macarthur take a measure of revenge for what happened on match day 1? A game where they trailed 1-0 to an early set piece, and then a red card for Callum Talbot on the stroke of half-time left Macarthur one short, but certainly they were the dominant side in terms of possession in that game, only to be hit on the counter-attack, and getting one goal back wasn't enough to launch a big finish to proceedings here at their home ground, Campbelltown Stadium. They've proven too good for Beijing Goan, and perhaps a little bit fortunate in the way that they were able to beat Kongan Hanoi via a deflected strike. But it has been 2 wins from 2, and they're controlling the ball straight from kickoff here. Šime Grđan, the Croatian, plays it to Rafa Duran, the Mexican, on the wing. Taipo clear, but Macarthur have numbers covering. Matthew Yerman plays the ball to Luke Bratton. Now Harry Politidis, fresh off an assist at the weekend, which was played to Harrison Sawyer. Here's Tomislav Uskok. Duran leaves the ball, heard the shout from Anthony Caceres. Forward comes Callum Talbot. He'll be on a mission tonight from a personal point of view, as we see Duran run out of space, out for an early goal kick, but it's been Macarthur's ball for the first minute of play.
Certainly has. A bright start by the home side on the front foot. That man there, Mile Stojovski, would have emphasised getting on the front foot early, setting the tempo, putting Taipo under pressure right from the start, and they've managed to do that.
Saw Luke Bratton there shielding his eyes from the setting sun. It's not as windy as you normally come to expect here at Campbelltown either, so no cooling breeze for the players just yet. They will be hoping the temperature dips, though. It is stifling the further away you get from the water in Sydney, and we are in the southwestern suburbs, some distance from the harbour and those iconic beaches. For those of you not familiar with the location of Campbelltown within the Greater Sydney area.
There's certainly better conditions to be sitting in the shade in the grandstand or up here in the commentary box where it's nicely air-conditioned.
We saw Lee Chi Kin there, the coach of Taipo, very emotional pre-game, decided to make a pre-prepared statement as part of his message upon arrival. And certainly he'll be hoping that his team can channel the emotions that he is feeling tonight.
Well, he did well to front the cameras, didn't he, Lee Chi Kin? You could see how much emotion was running through him, and let me add my condolences to all of those who have lost loved ones in those terrible fires in Taipo district in Hong Kong. Everyone affected, our thoughts are with you.
Politidis back to Yerman. He's being pursued by a one-man press from Taipo's Australian striker, James Temelkovski, a former Western Sydney Wanderer. So he'd have a brief amount of experience and recall of playing against Macarthur, but he primarily made his name bouncing around Australia's second tier, the NPL, at clubs like St Albans, Marconi, and also Metro Stars. So experience in Melbourne, Sydney and Adelaide, a well-travelled player. Perhaps no surprise that he was willing to take on the challenge of Hong Kong when a professional opportunity came calling. Here's Talbot. And Ji Dong Won leading the line. Not quite on the same wavelength, the veteran Korean attacker.
No, it's the second time in a couple of moments that Talbot and Ji Dong Won have been on different pages. That time the big striker was coming short, Talbot went long. Other than that, the ball movement's been pretty good from Macarthur early doors.
Here is G, worn very closely by Daciel, one of the many Brazilian connections in this Taipo team. The goalkeeper Kawing Tse has to clear the very last under pressure. He's able to lift the ball away from Rafa Duran, but Caceres is returning it right to the edge of the box here. G. Politidis stuck in a 1-on-2, and Gabriel Cividini took possession away. Here's Renner. He scored last time these teams met, and Liam Rose snapping at his heels. Renner thought he was fouled. The referee disagreed, and Taipo not able to capitalise on retaining possession. Renner still very gingerly getting himself up. And now he's back to his feet. Yerman with a probing pass. And Cividini down to the corner. Renner back up and running. And just a clearance to anywhere at the moment will do for Taipo.
Interestingly too, Teo, looking through the lineup from when these two sides last met, there's only one change to the Taipo lineup, and that's in the fullback position, right fullback. Chuk Pan Yan coming in to the side. Just shows the faith that the coach has put in the side that did the job at home against Macarthur.
Well, their Champions League form may have dipped, but their league form has remained strong, and they do rotate heavily in the league, Taipo, in order to put their focus into this competition while they're in it. So they are perhaps trying to recapture a winning formula with 10 of the 11, as you say, Mossy. Macarthur patient for now. Uscock. G. Centre forward coming deep into the midfield. He's busy. He's trying to make something happen here, but there wasn't much on.
Well, they're defending quite compact, aren't they, Taipo, as you'd expect. Two banks of four and a front two. So Macarthur doing the right thing, moving the ball around quickly, side to side, trying to open the holes up in midfield.
Shume Grajan. Politaitis, first time ball whipped onto the head of Duran. G flying, and a shot from Grajan blocked away. Dasil crucial, and the follow-up just over the bar. Oh, that was spectacular from Harry Politaitis.
Well, that's a good opening for Macarthur, and again using that width of the pitch down the left-hand side opens a space for the cross. Early delivery. Rafa Duran gets up early, and then it ricochets in a bit of a pinball fashion. The ball falls kindly for the visiting side to clear the danger.
And now perhaps a chance to build for the visitors. Patrick to Renner, a quick 1-2. Here is Patrick Valverde, Renner the underlapping run, and just the first little look at what Taipo may muster when they venture forward.
Yeah, there were some overlapping runs, underlapping runs. In the end, it was well read by Matt German, using all his experience to usher the ball to safety. But we saw in that first game, Taya, that Taipo have some quality. I know they got the go-ahead goal from a set piece, but when they break in transition, they've got some quality where it matters.
Caceres. Quick 1-2 with Politaitis. Holds off Renner. G getting plenty of physical attention, and then he's the one adjudged to have infringed last. No language barrier for Ji Dong Wong, with tonight's referee being from South Korea, so he might be the most likely to get into a dialogue with the official, you'd suggest?
Yeah, well, there's some heavy contact there to the ankle of Ikael, the central midfielder for Taipo, coming into strong contact with Ji Dong Won.
Igor Sartori able to turn the corner and play to Renner on the right. Renner, well, I think he was caught in two minds there between a tight angle shot and a cross, and he ended up with neither.
Yeah, and he's throwing his arms in the air. Really, he should have done better. That was a really good transition by Taipo, and you can see there, if he just slides the ball hard and low, he's got willing runners in those central areas.
What do you think he was saying to James Demolkovsky there, if it wasn't an apology? Because it certainly didn't look like one.
Well, I would say it was the art of deflection, because Renner really should have taken full responsibility for poor delivery. Demolkovsky had made a good run. Former A-League star, of course.
G has to be a little careful now. A couple of fouls in quick succession. Would not want to work his way into the book for repeat fouling. Here is Patrick. Lays it back to Mikhail. Moving forward. Again to Renner. Politaitis trying to lead a counter. Caceres with G and Harry Politaitis ahead of the ball. Macarthur happy to slow things down. Braddon sees Grajan centrally. Now Talbot making width on the right. decides against a cross. Back to Grosjean. Braddon. Politidis, he's got space here, but he resists the temptation to swing a ball in, and then a little bit of a hospital pass, it must be said, to Chimay Grosjean, but Macarthur do get the throw in.
Yeah, he just left it a little bit short. Credit too to the ground staff here at Campbelltown Sports Ground. The pitch in magnificent condition. The perfect surface for football. Watered just before kickoff. The ball zipping around a little bit.
Rafa Duran, one-on-one against his marker. The shimmy, but not able to genuinely outfox his opponent. The first corner of the night is still Macarthur's reward, though. Weverton less than impressed that the decision has gone the home team's way.
I can see his argument there, but I'm still comfortable with the decision made as we see Rafa Duran take on Weverton. And there Weverton times his sliding tackle to perfection.
So Tomislav Uskok, the centre-back, has been an aerial threat this season, both in the Champions League and the league for Macarthur. G, of course, in this pack of players, but it's an emphatic header away by Cividini to clear the lines initially. Second ball is well and truly on here, though. Caceres has Bratton on the wing. Bratton onto the head of Daciel. Underlapping run from Grosjean. He's been roaming tonight, the Croatian, not just hugging the wing, but he's willing to come into central positions when the attack needs him to just move a little central.
No crossing, no crossing, no crossing. You just take care of the fullback. Very good, very good. Come guys, come guys.
And Liam Rose is whistled here for the foul on Philip Chan. Just when he thought he'd caught him cold.
Gee, he was in to close the space quickly, wasn't he, Liam Rose? Copped a little bit of a knock himself, but gave the foul away.
Igor Sartori may have fooled Macarthur with that move for the first time he tried it tonight, not the second. They were awake to the little drag step in keeping possession. Here's Temelkovski. Now Chan. Breaking out to the left, Valverde surveying what's on. Far post run from Renner. And he couldn't make ground to fashion a shot. Goes and retrieves the ball instead. Taipo's best move of the night.
Absolutely. And a near thing for Macarthur to have to defend. Temelkovski played a really good role in that, just holding the ball up, bringing runners into the game. And the delivery flashed across the face of the Macarthur goal.
Talbot trying to leapfrog over the energetic slide tackle of Mikhail. He couldn't quite pull it off. Daciel clears to Temelkovski. Bratton sharked the pass. G played it into a contest. You flagged it earlier, Mossy, the pace of the game, the ball zipping around. It's a good surface and a good game so far.
It's a really good intensity. It's a credit to both sets of players in this heat. And again, the ground staff are preparing a pitch that really allows them to play football. It's a massive opportunity for Macarthur. They've done a lot of hard work at home, getting 6 points from 6 out of the likes of Hanoi in the last game and Beijing, of course. They need to capitalise on that tonight.
Liam Rose. Talbot, good first touch. Doesn't want to take on Weverton with the cross. Weverton, did he leave a foot in? Yes, he did. Free kick from a wide position. And the Brazilian with an apology of sorts to Callum Talbot.
I think that apology was more for the referee than it was for Callum.
A look at how the foul was won, and now a set-piece opportunity. Luke Bratton in swinging free kick or outswinging free kick actually relative to where the goal is. Could take it into the path of the likes of G, Yerman, Uskok. So again, it'll be Cividini and Daciel trying to position themselves best underneath the ball. Here's Bratton's free kick, and it is first hit Macarthur, promising and sliding across the face. And that would have been a moment of redemption there for Callum Talbot.
Certainly would. He won the foul, Callum Talbot, and then he won the race to the delivery from Luke Bratton. It was wonderful delivery into that near post area. Just the right height for Talbot. In the end, he didn't quite get enough of his forehead on the ball. Too much of a glance that saw it go past that far post. A really good opportunity for Macarthur.
Taipo warned about conceding free kicks in that area of the pitch again. A couple of players, Igor Sartori and then Philip Chan, both trying to use the dummy to outfox their opponents, not to do.
I'll tell you what, Milos Serjovski's lost his touch in his old age. Uskok just leathered the ball straight into his thigh. Usually Millet would bring that down.
Temelkovski trying to switch one flank to the other. Renner against Politidis. Renner, clever, is able to leave Politidis behind. Here's Renner, and in the middle, oh, the shot bends away from the target. Taipo are adamant it's a corner. The central referee is saying it's a goal kick. Luck's a fortune.
Well, we'll see again here, but it's Renner again causing problems down the right-hand side. Taipo's right-hand side, Macarthur's left. I thought the last touch was off Tommy Uskok. It's a bit of sixes and sevens there. The referee was very confident, Oh Hyung Jong, in the decision to award the goal kick. And no one from the Macarthur side is complaining.
And Renner is really working through the gears and becoming a thorn in Macarthur's side. Here's Temelkovski hustling to keep the ball in. Renner! And saved by Philip Curto. Renner stays down. He might have hurt himself with that full body length dive, but Philip Curto is able to make the save when called upon.
Well, another big moment. They're starting to huff and puff the away side. Taipo, and it's down the right-hand side once again. Kept onside. And it's Temelkovski who does really well to get to that ball and just dink it into a good area at that near post for Renner to attack. Really, Renner should have done better. He was running onto it. It was at a great height. He needed to go back across the goalkeeper. And then he cops a knock in the process.
Well, from an Australian point of view, I'm sure Macarthur would be hoping that he's struggling. But from a neutral point of view, Mossy, he's been the action man. He's been the most exciting player on the pitch. So hopefully a bit of ice on the hip means that he'll be able to continue in the game.
Yeah, definitely. He's been their go-to, Renner, hasn't he? And he's been causing a lot of problems, even though Macarthur have had the lion's share of possession in the opening 18 or so minutes. And Taipo have won the ball in transition and found Renner. Invariably, something's happened for them.
The 30-year-old Brazilian, briefly in Portugal, but half a dozen lower division Brazilian clubs bouncing around his native country before trying Hong Kong in 2023, and he's had no reason to leave ever since. You can see why he's such an important part of this Taipo team. They'll be desperate to have him restored to full health. In the meantime, Macarthur trying to capitalise. Grajan runs straight into the challenge of Cividini, who clears to safety via the microphone. Duran, Talbot. A hopeful cross. Good header away out of the centre of defence from Nyan. Renner's back on, back trying, but not able to make headway on this occasion. Politidis forced central as he trapped the pass. Rose, Caceres. Forward now is the shout from Miles Stajovski on the sideline. Uskok. Talbot maybe just faked out of challenging for the ball there by his counterpart Weverton.
Yeah, I think Talbot wanted it to feet. Uskok was trying to play it into the space. Once again, just on a different page down the right-hand side for Macarthur.
Clever play by Patrick Valverde. Renner operating in his defensive half. Ball cleared by Sivadini. Some really good noise coming out of the Taipo fans in the away bay now. They've become perhaps used to it for these Champions League 2 games at Macarthur. There's a great contingent of Vietnamese fans following Công An Hanoi last time they were here at home. It's a more modest in terms of numbers crowd for Taipo, but a bit like their home stadium in Hong Kong, they are making it sound like many more.
Well, the noise we're hearing is because the fans are starting to build a little bit of confidence off the back of those chances Taipo have created for themselves.
Caceres a slaloming run, quick 1-2 with G. Oh, and he left the ball behind. A moot point as he was offside, but the link-up play was very nearly perfect.
Almost very well played. I thought G was going to turn out onto his right foot and let one rip to the far post. Instead, he tried to play the wall pass with Caceres, who just ventured offside. His touch let him down anyway. Here's the replay. Gee, that would have been tight. I'm not sure that was offside, but of course no VAR in the Asian Champions League 2 competition.
So Macarthur foiled by the offside flag, and the ball is back in dispute. Renner. Prodded down the right sideline. Uskok. Possession seized upon by Patrick. Oh, great sidestep by Patrick. And as it sits up in the middle, Yerman clears, but by no means to safety when Renner is on the ball. Another cross reins in over the head of Tempelkovsky. It sits up kindly, and the volley is deflected in. Igor Sartori scores for Taipo, and a respectful celebration, no doubt. The thoughts are with those affected back in Hong Kong in the Taipo district. A moment of solemnity instead of celebration, but Taipo nonetheless have a goal.
Yeah, very, very classy from the Taipo players, but Macarthur can't say this hasn't been coming. They've been giving away chance after chance to Taipo, and again, it's from their right-hand side, Taipo, where the delivery comes, and that's a really good first touch to set himself up for the strike. The deflection definitely aids him, there's no doubt about that, and causes all sorts of problems for Philip Curto. In the end of the day, it's a very good strike from Igor Sartori that finds the back of the net. Macarthur now chasing the game.
Well, just like it was in Hong Kong, it's Taipo with the lead. Not quite as early as on match day 1, but the same scoreline at the same time of the game, now that we're about a quarter of the way through the night's action, and the gauntlet has very much been thrown down to the home side here, because this end-to-end contest, Taipo are really up for it and seemingly matching Macarthur every step of the way.
Well, they've got a pretty strong purpose to play for tonight, the Taipo players, with what's unfolding in Hong Kong. It looks to me like it's really galvanising them.
Macarthur through Grosjean will recycle play here and take the cross. Braddon, Grosjean. Politidis in close quarters, Grosjean. Well, he looked up at two opponents and tried to thread through Liam Rose, but just a little bit too difficult.
And for context, Teo, it's worth noting, and I'm sure it'll be on his mind, Mile Sturjovski, that for all the possession Macarthur have had, really their only chance has been from the free kick, Bratton to Talbot. And it flashed past the far post. Other than that, just about every time Taipo have gone forward in transition, they've caused some problems for Macarthur. So when it comes to effective possession, Taipo well worth their lead.
Yeah, they will have no qualms whatsoever with a 70-30 split, which is what it's currently going at the moment.
Come on!
Gabriel Cividini winding up the Macarthur sideline. And he has received a yellow card due to taking too long to tie up his bootlace. At least I assume it's for Cividini rather than the goalkeeper for not restarting play. Not immediately obvious who exactly receives the booking there. The referee was issuing it from so far away. Rose clattered after releasing the ball. The referee did see it, so Rose gingerly gets back to his feet. In the meantime, a diagonal dart across the pitch. Grosjean onto his right side, but deflected immediately. Well defended by Chan, and now a crunching slide challenge from Valverde. Look at the commitment on show from Taipo, and now they can lead a counter-attack. Nyan sets it out to the goal scorer on the left, Igor Sartori. Igor jags left, braces for impact, goal kick. Bratton, the veteran, was never going to be lured in to give away a penalty.
Yeah, good refereeing. There was nowhere near enough contact in that to be a penalty, but up the other end, what about that from Patrick Valverde on the edge of his own area? And then it was some really smart distribution that set the attack in motion. And there's the defensive work by the Macarthur skipper, Luke Bratton.
Well, it does feel like an end of group stage proper cup tie at the moment. It's end to end. By no means a mathematical knockout for either team if they lose tonight, but just the circumstances of Taipo being away to Hanoi and Macarthur being away to Beijing in match day 6 means that they know what's at stake in tonight's game.
Yeah, 100%. And Macarthur will still be smarting from dropping the points in Taipo. That away clash, they really didn't turn up that night. Some would say they were unlucky not to get something out of the game. They created enough on the night, but ultimately the home side got the result.
That was smart from Rose. He almost initiated contact there with Daciel, and perhaps after not receiving a foul closer to the penalty box, he decided to use a bit of his experience, and he's bounced back to his feet here to continue this attack. Duran against Weverton. And the Mexican is able to win his team a corner.
Yeah, another corner to Macarthur. Great to see Liam Rose establishing himself in the A-League, putting on performances in the Asian Champions League. Of course, I had him as a youngster at the Central Coast Mariners. He's now starting to really believe in himself like others believed in him early in his career.
Corner delayed here as particulars are debated between Matthew Yerman and Daciel. Shadows creeping across the pitch. The players won't have to shield their eyes from the sun for too much longer as Bratton drives a flat corner and it skims off a couple of heads on its way out. And the assistant referee on the opposite side of the pitch says last touch off Macarthur. It'll be Taipo ball.
Yeah, I think Gabriel Cividini got the first touch to it, but it skimmed off his head onto a Macarthur head for Taipo to win the throw, but I think Macarthur are going to have to change up their delivery. They've sent the ball flat into the box a few times. The only time they've had any joy was that free kick that we talked about, but crosses in general play and from corners have been pretty easily dealt with by the Taipo defence.
Weverton, Duran gives him a little shove, but didn't really knock him off the ball. So Weverton all the way down to the corner. What next, though? Well, he's done very nicely to keep the ball in Taipo possession. Half an hour ticked by, and it's thanks to 32-year-old captain Igor Sartori that Taipo hold a 1-0 lead, which really would make it a 4-team race on match day 6, regardless of what happens later on tonight. Offside flag is up here.
Yeah, that last phase of play, it was from a throw-in deep in the Taipo half on the far side. Another example of how quickly they get to their top third, or the defensive third of Macarthur. They're quite swift in their attacks.
Rose attacks the ball, brings it to ground. Dejan and Politaitis. Politaitis always full of running, first time ball, and Jidong Won, I wonder in his prime if he might have made that near post run and made ground, but instead it's an easy collect for Kawing Se.
Well, I think if he'd anticipated the early delivery, he would have got there, because he was just caught a little flat-footed, as we see here on the replay. He just makes his darting run too late, only by a couple of steps. Anticipation is key to getting to that near post area for crosses like that.
It's knowing the characteristics of your teammates. Not so much a pre-arranged agreement that you'll hit crosses first time, because the circumstances don't always allow you to, but really more knowing whether they are more likely than not in that situation to hit it first time.
That's right. You've got wide players who like to check out onto their opposite foot and hit the ball with an in-swinger, but there's others who are prepared to deliver early, and Politaitis is certainly one of those.
Uscock and Bratton almost played themselves into trouble, but Bratton, the veteran of well over 300 appearances in the Australian A-League, is able to break into open space. However, commentators curse on show right there. He's put it into the second row rather than to the feet of his teammate.
Oh, it's one of those, I'm sure. As he struck that, he's gone, why have I been sucked into trying to play that ball? He was never really set for it, even though it would have been a magnificent ball had it reached the target. Stojovski with plenty to ponder.
Yerman leans into a header. Rose protecting the ball, doing very nicely as well. Free kick given. Talbot directing traffic before the pass arrived. Bratton. Now Duran. Straight to Caceres. He's got a marker sticking to him. Long chain of passes here for Macarthur, but can they turn it into progress towards the penalty area? Duran. Talbot.
Well, the problem is it's all in front of the Taipo defensive structure. They need to try and puncture the lines with some penetrating passes.
Talbot eventually committed to a risk and lost straight to Weverton, but he's tied himself up in knots, and not for the first time tonight. He's clever enough to win a throw-in when outnumbered. Aerial duel, Bratton. First thought is to reset at the feet of Yerman. Uscock. A little dash, takes 15 metres, now 20. Duran. And Duran able to drag the ball to his advantage. Away from Weverton he goes. Backheel flick from Renner. Not quite out of danger, but there is someone to come in and help out. It's Patrick. He's stuck in a duel, and Politita's got the better of him. Now Grosjean trying to capitalise. 1-2 with G. And again, G just trying to be a one-touch centre forward. Wall passes, keep his teammates engaged. That time it came unstuck, but Caceres reloads. And now Grosjean floating over to the right wing, and he drops it on the roof of the net.
And that right there is a snapshot of Macarthur so far. They've looked so promising getting the ball into a certain area, just on the edge of the top third, and then the lack of quality or the wrong decision is really letting them down. On that occasion, it was a little bit of both. But they've looked really promising knocking the ball from defence into midfield. So we see just off camera Mile Sturjovski in deep conversation with Liam Rose. They're going to have to come up with some solutions because Taipo are defending very compactly. 2 banks of 4 and a front 2, and then they're prepared to get all players behind the ball. Macarthur just struggling to break that down.
Concern here for the fullback Weverton. He's the player receiving treatment, which has allowed players to go over and have a drink. Only 23 in contrast to some of the more senior Brazilian players in the team. He's actually at his second club. He joined North District in Hong Kong before moving to Taipo in September of 2024. Talk us through this potential injury here.
Yeah, it was Duran getting around the fullback. I think the knock comes not necessarily from that moment there, but I think it might have been when he won a throw in earlier, Weverton, because he was looking a little bit unhappy on his feet even before that action there.
And is there an issue for Thomas Labuskok as well, Mossy?
Yeah, I saw him with his right short, the shorts over his right leg up, and he was rubbing his thigh pretty heavily. The last thing they can afford is an injury at this stage of the game.
Given his aerial threat, Buskok is a player that Macarthur will be desperate to keep out there. Not just his defending, his ability to potentially help them find an equaliser as they continue to chase the game. Grosjean, Caceres. Set out in front of Politaitis. G. Oh, agonisingly close. And it goes for a goal kick.
Well, they've worked that very well, Macarthur. Down the left-hand side, Politaitis heavily involved again. This is great delivery. And Ji Dong-won just throws himself at it. If he misses it, there's reinforcements behind him. Just gets the direction all wrong.
That angle was a lot less flattering than ours from halfway on the opposite side of the net. Looks like a better chance to the naked eye than perhaps the replay suggested. Duran. And Weverton maybe still looking a little proppy, but able to strip the ball away with a good tackle there. Talbot. And just hustled by Patrick. Patrick Valverde's got a real intensity to him, almost to the point where now that Macarthur's aware of his reputation in the second head-to-head, they're starting to worry whenever he starts shutting them down. Well, Yerman, no such worries.
Well, he had to win that, Yerman. Otherwise, Valverde was away. But you're right, he's working so hard. He's not afraid to shirk the physical stuff either. Defensively, Valverde. And he's got the quality to do the right things with the ball.
Weverton just giving up possession there on the throw-in. I wonder, is his body causing a bit of a mental switch off here for the left back of Taipo? No such concerns in the meantime. Further up the pitch, though. Mikhail asking and receiving the throw-in.
Well, the referee and the assistant referee were on different pages there. In the end, I think the right decision was made.
Renner from a standing start in a one-on-one. Bends back into the pitch. Patrick. Happy to join Renner over on the wing, and then back to Cividini he goes. Daciel. Into the last 5 minutes of regulation in this first half. Taipo holding a vital lead thanks to this player here, Igor Sartori. Not his finest moment there, however. And Duran sends the ball into the path of G, but he's got it all to do out on the wing. Not much by way of support and plenty by way of competition. As Sartori wins the ball, but then puts it over the head of Temelkovski.
Well, G Dongwon needs to be stronger in that situation. He gave the ball away far too easily. It was a promising move down the right-hand side for Macarthur. But again, it's just when they get to that top third, it's breaking down for them. Something Milan Stojovski's going to have to address at half-time, no doubt.
Grosjean. Yerman. Deflected pass, still finds Grosjean, and he always had eyes on Politaitis out on the wing. Back inside for Rose. Grosjean, a few touches in this phase of play, but it comes unstuck right there. Well done by Philip Chan. His clearance, though, maybe inviting the pressure right back on. Caceres. And a great slide challenge from Patrick. Temelkovski and Taipo have possession back. Once again,
Patrick Valverde with some brilliant defensive work right at the edge of his box for a number 10. He plays higher up the pitch. He's not afraid to do his defensive work deep in his own half.
And Bratton just volunteers the ball back to Tsay with an easy catch. Just when it felt like Macarthur was starting to build a bit of sustained pressure too. The difference has been that because they're so limited in the frequency of their attacks, Taipo, they're always looking to score, whereas Macarthur are a far more patient team. Here's Rose. Yerman and Bratton. Grosjean off and running as he collected from behind. Macarthur increasingly frustrated at the lack of protection they're getting with tackles that come in after they've played the ball.
Well, I can't blame them for that. And the referee, Hyong Jong, wasn't even looking at the challenge there. Her eyes were off watching the ball. That for me was 100% foul in Macarthur's favour.
So that's something Luke Bratton needs to find a way to communicate to the central referee at halftime.
Well, if he doesn't, I'm sure the Macarthur staff will.
Problem
is that Glenn Moss off the bench talking to the fourth official.
Sartori. Bending ball, Renner has gone quiet ever since he had that diving header where he had a heavy landing. Some of that's been a product of how Taipo play. I suppose he knows that as a counter-attacking team he has to bide his time and wait for opportunities to burst into space. Right now, though, all the focus is on defending. Politaitis. The acceleration from Grosjean. Low cross, not quite dealt with by Daciel. Caceres slides in, and the attack continues at the feet of G. Bratton, Ji Dong-won. Surrounded by defenders as the board goes up for 3 additional minutes at the end of the first half. Low sliding pass, catches a deflection. Ji Dong-won! Wide at the near side.
Well, what an opportunity for Macarthur. Grijan central to it. Liam Rose with a driving pass into the Taipo box. Ball fell kindly for Di Dong Wong. There's that pass. It was just driven into the box. It falls kindly just there. You think he set himself up perfectly with his first touch, and then he just pushes it wide. He tries to dig it out from under his body. Another chance gone begging for the home side.
Renner, can Taipo make it to half-time? Macarthur finishing the stronger. Rose. Oh, he ran into trouble and he got wrapped up, and Philip Chan has won the ball away. Darcyl just volunteers possession straight back to Macarthur. Still got 2 minutes to play with here. Woodcock. Talbot hugging the line. Wants someone to come short for the ball. Rose leaves it for Caceres, and he gets his pocket picked by McHale. Great defending by the midfielder. Temelkovski, the little step over, and now is he set clear? Not quite. Uskock's there. And a number of issues here. Temelkovski quickly apologises for tapping the heels of Uskock, but behind play, Caceres had fouled Valverde.
Well, for the umpteenth time, it's just broken down on the edge of the Taipo box, as we see the foul after the whistle had been blown, but it was well left by Liam Rose for Anthony Caceres. Caceres moving onto the ball in a good area. Had his pocket picked, and the attack was over as Callum Talbot cops one right in the chops.
And insult to injury is it's a corner right at the end of the half, so the innovation there of Igor Sartori is enough to win his team a set piece, and Callum Talbot, unfortunately, got the ball square in the mouth.
Yeah, those ones don't tickle at all. Oof, knew nothing about it. He's back on his feet.
And no need for the trainer to be called, so thankfully no blood drawn for Callum Talbot, but his focus immediately turns to defending. If Taipo can score here, stoppage time expired at the end of the first half. This really would be an enviable position, and Yeoman and McHale got into a jostle there. McHale quite rightfully saying, "Did you see my shirt being grabbed?" Yeoman would be best advised not to repeat that when the ball swings in. Now that the referee's eyes will be on it. The byplay continues. Well, how long until the referee reaches for the pocket here to try and calm things down? Luke Bratton's turn to try and calm McHale down.
Well, there's no doubt that McHale is gaslighting the Macarthur defenders.
So will there be a foul or clean play at the ball? It's a header away from Ji Dong Won. So we've gone 1 minute beyond the allocated 3 at the end of the first half. Will the referee put an end to this and send them to the rooms, or will there be one more chance for confrontation? Sartori's throw in. Patrick spins out onto his left, hard against the line, and if there is time to take it, there isn't. So the corner at the end of the half comes to naught, and Taipo may be frustrated for now, but they will definitely be the happier of the two sides, because they have turned Group E at the halfway point of this game into a 4-way race to advance. And Macarthur have it all to do to keep their perfect home record intact. Igor Sartori, the sole goal scorer so far in the match. And it could be 3 precious points for Taipo. Luke Bratton having words with the one Australian in the Taipo team, James Temelkovski, and others as the tensions rise. I think we're hearing a bit of discussion about the second half, and Well, some of the Taipo staff are just trying to end the dialogue and calm things down. And thankfully, no further blow-ups as the teams head into the rooms. The halftime score is Macarthur FC 0, Taipo 1.
Airline in the Middle East, world's best business class lounge. And yes, still a Skytrax 5-star airline. That's a lot of bests, but none of it happens without the best passengers. Thank you for flying with us. If you're voting for us, we go further because of you.
Everyone's crazy about football. But boxing, that's a never-ending game of tactics. One wrong move, game over. Tennis, a marathon with a racket. When it goes wrong, you become your own worst enemy. I came for football, I stay for more.
has come on. Macarthur are answering with a double sub as they chase the game. Ji Dong-won is replaced like for like by the towering Harry Sawyer. And after a limited effect on the game in the first half, Rafa Duran makes way for the young Australian winger Luke Vickery to come on. So one change for Taipo. They have a goal in pocket thanks to Igor Sartori. And as things stand, they are currently top of the group and will be, at least if they hold this result. And then later tonight at 11:15 p.m. Australian time, if Kongan Hanoi and Beijing Guan were to draw, Taipo would finish match day 5 top of the group. So they have all to play for in this second half. Macarthur are in need of a comeback. Both these teams are away in China and Vietnam in the final group game respectively. Phil Moss, as you rejoin me, this should be 45 minutes of fascinating football.
All to play for, as you've said, Teo. A really critical 45 minutes coming up for Macarthur. Well, both sides, but Macarthur being the home side in the scheme of things. This is a huge, huge 45 minutes. Really like the substitutions that Mile Sturjovski's made at half-time. I think Sawyer will add some punch. I thought Ji Dong-won was a little bit flat-footed in that first half, a bit ineffective. He did have a couple of half chances that he should have done better with, and great to see Luke Vickery out there. He's an exciting young Australian player. Looking forward to seeing what he brings to this second half.
Shimei Grajan trying to take on the Taipo midfield single-handedly. Lost out to McHale. He used Patrick, and now hold-up play from Temelkovski. Chan trying to feed it back out to the right, but Yerman stepped up to win the ball. Here's Bratton forcing a pass. Caceres, return ball to Bratton, and now Sawyer, first touch off the bench. And I'll get your thoughts, Phil, on the substitution for Taipo. Renner did fade as the half went on. We saw him take a heavy landing going for a diving header during that first half. So are you surprised that he's made way and Fernando has come on?
No, he was definitely much less effective, or much more ineffective, whichever way you want to look at it, after that injury from the header. But before that, he was their go-to. Everything they did that was good in the attacking half was through him. But Fernando, at 39 years of age, comes in now. Let's see what he can add to the Taipo attack.
I think he'll be best pleased that he's not out there in the heat of the day. The sun hasn't quite set. It's twilight now in the south and western suburbs of Sydney, but we've dipped down into the mid-20s in the temperature, and it was in the mid-30s only a couple of hours ago during the heat of the day. So conditions have been good underfoot. And we did notice also, Phil, that only one half of the pitch had the sprinklers come on at halftime. Macarthur had to dodge and duck in order to avoid getting sprayed as their substitutes had a kickabout. But the left of your screen as you're watching it is where all the watering was done at halftime.
Yeah, the Macarthur attacking half for this second half. So not surprised. Mile Sturjovski and his staff, no doubt, speaking to the ground staff, trying to get their attacking half a little bit quicker in this second half, and maybe potentially a little bit slipperier for the Taipo defence.
Here's a great run coming though from Chukpan Nyan.
It's one of the advantages of being the home side.
Politaitis to Bratton, and now Yerman. Philip Curto did make that one sharp save from Renner and that diving header in the first half, but he's been a virtual spectator otherwise. Not much he could have done about the goal other than correct course mid-flight, and he wasn't able to do so on that deflected strike from Igor Sartori. Here goes Bratton with a burst of speed, turning back the clock. Talbot and Vickery sent sprawling. Talbot gets a second chance. Crossfield ball, Shimei Grajan unmarked in the penalty area. Grajan outside of the foot cross, catches the woodwork. And Taipo through Weverton clear. Oh, Grajan improvised and he very nearly scored.
Well, I'll put your house and mine on that, Teo, that was a cross, not a shot. Didn't quite get the curl that he was looking for with the outside of the foot to put it into the far post area. Ended up looking more spectacular than I think his initial plan was.
Mossy, I need to talk to you about the Sydney housing market, mate. In the meantime, here's a weaving run from Rose. He leaves the ball with Talbot. And over the head of Grajan, not the target. Macarthur needed to aim for it. It already sailed well clear of Sawyer. Bratton. Vickery at the edge of the box. Steps around one marker and scores! Luke Vickery off the bench! It caught an almighty deflection, but Macarthur won't care. It's the youngster that brings it level 1-1. He shrugged Simonini and his shot found a way through.
Well, credit the coach, Mile Sturjovski. He's made the double half-time substitution. He hasn't waited. Luke Vickery's bought a ticket, and not for the first time tonight we've seen a deflected goal down this end of the pitch. Did Macarthur having that end of the pitch watered play a role in that goal? I guess we'll never know, but he bought a ticket, Luke Vickery, and he won the lottery to get Macarthur back into this tie.
You imagine that might be lighting the touch paper here at Campbelltown Stadium. A draw is not a satisfactory result for either of these two teams. They will keep going for it. Crucially, it's Vickery's first Macarthur goal as well. As the referee just adjusting seemingly the pocketbook.
Well, it's certainly just turned the temperature up again, hasn't it? Both sets of players know what's riding on this result tonight. And this really has set us up now for a fantastic final half.
So, a long-range free kick. Free header in the box is sent square. Sawyer helping out the defenders. And holding of the arm of Shimmer Grosjean. Right. And again, the cards are not coming out of the pocket seemingly, or is our referee simply taking time, Oh Hyung Jong, to assess?
Well, I think she's been quite lenient with the cards tonight, but she's going to have to assert her authority on this game the further it goes, because the temperature is only going to rise from here.
And no card, just a foul given in the end. And so a bit of fortune for Chukpam Nyan. The artificial light starting to take over at Campbelltown Stadium. An early equaliser at the start of the second half for the 20-year-old Luke Vickery. He did have an assist in the game against Beijing Guan, but it is his first goal for Macarthur since joining from Western United. And no doubt his confidence will be sky high here. Grosjean, crucial in the build-up. He's just been roaming in a much freer role in this game, and here he goes weaving and darting into the box, and then no touch back from Sawyer. Valverde, right where Taipo needed him to try and cool things down, but Caceres, Grosjean, the sidestep draws in Mikhail. And we were talking off air at half-time, Mossy, about the role that Shimmer Grosjean has played tonight. It does look very different to what we've seen both in the Champions League Two and the A-League so far this season.
Yeah, that's right. He's been more active tonight. He's gone looking for the ball, not just waiting for it to arrive. But I think the two half-time substitutions, Vickery goes without saying, getting the equalising goal, but Harry Sawyer also causing some problems straight away with his size and movement.
Well, we saw a free kick similar to this in the first half of Luke Bratton. It hit the head of Callum Talbot and went wide of the target, but the trajectory was so promising. Bratton trying to produce again, and this time it's batted away. Rose takes on the long shot, and the follow-up is offside. Sawyer is flagged. What an attempt from Liam Rose. Nearly had Macarthur in front.
Well, it's nearly snapped the crossbar in half. It had that much venom behind it from Liam Rose. He sets himself brilliantly, and we know he's two-footed, Liam Rose, and look at that. Keeper beaten, all ends up. But the deflection landed at the feet of an offside player. And you can see the Macarthur bench through their assistant coach, I should say, just saying quicker, quicker, keep the intensity, keep bossing the intensity.
It took Liam Rose 125 games to score his first A-League goal, which Happened about 6 weeks ago right here at Campbelltown Stadium. He was only 27 away from the all-time record of most A-League games played without scoring for an outfield player. And he would have needed far fewer ACL2 games had that one found a way in. Instead, he's left watching as the ball is intercepted here. Sartori. Let's not forget, a draw is almost knockout territory for Taipo. They need to chase this game just as much as Macarthur do. Grosjean. Politidis, first time cross. Volley up and under, not quite away from Weverton nor Mikhail. Bodies crashing in, and then eventually the clearance is made. Yerman, show of strength.
Really good defending for all young defenders. They should watch that time and time again by Yerman. Just uses his body to take the knock and then wins the header quite comfortably. Showing all his experience, but again, Grosjean down this left-hand side, really injecting himself into the game, bringing Politidis into it. Good cross. Not far off, connecting with a runner.
Uscock. Vickery, the Macarthur goal scorer, starting in the midfield third of the pitch. Can't get the better of Weverton. So Yerman. There's a big gap right in the pocket, the number 10 sort of space. Only the referee occupying it at the moment, but Macarthur happy to play around the fringes. And again, that pocket remains wide open near the top of the box. Who's going to exploit the space? Bratton takes on the attempt. Send that one a bit further wide. Hands on head, but ultimately not close enough.
Oh, they're starting to tighten the screws now, Macarthur. Luke Bratton just invited into that space. You don't have to ask him twice to pull the trigger. Look at that, it just opens up. The Taipo defence backs off, and he knows if he just got a little bit of reverse swerve on that, it's going to nestle nicely in the bottom far post area.
If he'd got too much on it, Mossy, he might have been off to Brisbane tomorrow. Throw in here for Weverton at left back. Fernando hasn't really been able to put his stamp on the game just yet. You wonder, Taipo, as we get closer to the hour mark, thinking about more substitutions, given the Renner one was forced rather than elective. Big gaps opening in midfield now. Rose, and just a heavy touch invited on Cividini, and now Sartori. A couple of the older heads, and through the back of Tempelkovsky goes Uscock. No love lost, and Tomislav Uscock is shown a yellow card. He gets his full value for it, letting the referee know how he feels.
Well, the first player booked was always going to show their frustration, asking why me, but ultimately I think it's the right decision from referee Oh Hyung-jong. It's from behind, he's gone to ground, Uscock. He knows that's going to incur the wrath of officialdom.
Tempelkovsky doesn't spend a huge amount of time in possession, but he certainly plays an important role for this Taipo team. And now he has a centre-back on a card to work against, given he hasn't had a great deal of change out of the towering combination of both Uscock and Yerman so far. Hopeful ball. Oh, Yerman's gone down, maybe caught a trailing arm. He remains on his haunches as Macarthur tried to counter in the meantime. Daciel just hooked it blindly straight to Sawyer, and so Macarthur can continue attacking. Rose. Here's Vickery from the right. Luke Vickery drops the shoulder. The run of Talbot. And Weverton in the right spot after some good defending by Cividini. That's really clever. Hard against the sideline. Yerman back up and running in the meantime, so nothing to worry about there for the home side. Fernando right in front of the pocket of Taipo fans, and they appreciate the good defensive play, and now they're on the referee's case and contributing to Weverton winning that foul.
Well, we had some intensity in that first half. The intensity is only getting better in this second half. To see a replay of the foul, I don't think there was too much in it. I am reliably informed, Teo, and we are hearing a fair bit from the Macarthur assistant coach down there tonight. But Milo Sturjovski's been fighting off influenza A this week, which is why he's a little bit more subdued, thinking long and hard, but we haven't heard much from him tonight, and that is probably why.
Well, he watches circumspect on the bench because his team now has to defend a corner. And of course it was a corner from which they did concede in Hong Kong to Gabriel Sivadini, the number 33, who along with his fellow central defender Daciel is now arriving in the penalty area. Mikhail, another target to aim for. Temelkovski has planted himself next to the goalkeeper. Big moment for Taipo. High. And Sivadini with the initial header. Uskok answers in kind, and Macarthur clear their lines. And we reach the hour mark, and we're about to see a flurry of activity on the bench, or will Taipo trust the team that still has 9 of the 11 that played in the first game between these teams and was able to win? A draw would still see Macarthur with a job to do away in Beijing, regardless of what happens between Kong'an Hanoi and Beijing Guan later tonight. So they have every incentive to go for it and try to win, and that pass a little ambitious from Yerman as he hooks it.
Yeah, well, they came into this game with their fate in their own hands, and they're not going to want to leave this game with anything other than that. Macarthur getting back into the contest on the scoreboard so early in the second half has given them a great platform from which to go on with it. They've still got to get the job done.
Well, are we about, having followed 16 fairly high-octane minutes, to dip into the first lull of the second half, and then whose concentration might be breaking first? Or are things about to spring back to life? Harry Politaitis, the action man, the sort of player to make things happen, but he's left the ball behind. Stripped clean. And out to the right it goes. Great balance and footwork from Patrick. The pass not able to match though. Politaitis recovered. Got in the road, and that leaves Patrick looking up at a set midfield and defence. Mikhail. Nyan. A low cross, but no one attacking the front post.
Yeah, again, a swift counter-attack by Taipo, driven by that man, Patrick Valverde, in midfield, as Caceres breaks for Macarthur.
It's turning into a basketball game here. We attack, you attack. Straight down to the other end. Vickery goes to ground. It's going to be a counter-on-counter here. That might suit Taipo just fine. Fernando, the 39-year-old Pistons are pumping. And he plays the pass sideways. Igor Sartori. Valverde shouting for the ball on the opposite wing. And Fernando's run offside. And Taipo have really cooked a great opportunity to counter there.
Well, Uskok is livid with the referee for not giving the foul on Vickery. I'm happy to see those situations let go. Let the game flow, I say. I don't think there's much in that. I think Vickery goes to ground a little bit too easy. Here's the offside. Credit to Matt Yerman. Look at him step up there to make sure he's in line with Uskok. They held their line very well.
However, Temelkovski, defending from the front, has won the ball back. Taipo remain on the attack. Sartori. Fernando. He's going to shoot from range! Side netting. Oh, Fernando nearly had his moment.
Well, that would have justified the half-time substitution, wouldn't it? But Macarthur, they need to read these warning signs. You can't drop off a player like Fernando. Look, no one's closing that space. Bratton's caught flat-footed. He needs to at least make an effort to go and close the ball. In the end, Curto breathing a sigh of relief, seeing it flash past his near post.
Caceres, quick head scan of what's going on the left and decides to veer right. Talbot. Caceres, big gap in midfield to exploit. Mikhail comes over to try and shut him down, so Caceres goes wide. Now Mikhail's going to follow him. Bratton. Here's Grosjean. He's got Rose in support. Rose, and good body shape from the defender, Sivadini, to avoid conceding a corner. And now Yerman gets into the back of Temelkovski.
Yeah, you can't have too many complaints there, Matty Yerman. He's just asking for consistency, but I think he knows in his heart of hearts it was a foul against Temelkovski. Late to get there. Temelkovski wins the header. And the foul is given correctly.
Well, that was enough to get Mile Stojovski coughing it all out of his seat. Not doing a great deal of shouting. The Macarthur gaffer. Weverton loses out to the combination of Bratton and Rose, but there is cover in his left back corner. Mikhail's gone over there and puts the shoulder in. Nutmeg from Sawyer, very clever, and now the flag goes as he fouls Daciel. Oh, Sawyer, that's the cliche, good feet for a big man.
Well, it was clever feet, wasn't it? And quick feet to start with, and then too slow to get there at the second attempt to give the foul away, but something really good was building. Bratton does some great work in midfield. Liam Rose with a good release. Sawyer with some great work in the wide area, and then gives a foul away to take all the pressure off Taipo. It's helter-skelter, Teo.
Oh, there's a lot of football still to be played, and you wonder who's going to burn out first here. Again, both coaches are standing pat on the sideline, not calling for subs just yet. In fact, neither bench is really warming up. They're watching on as enthralled as we are.
I've been impressed with what I've seen this season from Politidis. He's such a tidy player, quick, injects himself at the right times, good delivery into the box, and does his defensive responsibilities very well, reads the game well. So far, having a very, very solid season.
Here he is on the ball now, Caceres. Mikhail seems to have set himself to just tighten up on Caceres now, at least when he's nearing the attacking third of the pitch. Politidis breaks central. Rose was waiting for him. Uscock. Talbot for Vickery. Even though the ball might have been going out for a goal kick, Vickery's done well to split the contest and win a throw. And now Talbot with fancy feet. Gets the cross in. Initial header clears. As far as Valverde, Daciel sold into trouble by the return pass though. And Bratton takes over. Valverde caught him. It's going to be a shooting range free kick here for Macarthur.
Well, again, Macarthur just keeping the sustained pressure on Taipo as Luke Bratton gets involved. Liam Rose gets fouled from behind. And rightly so, there's a yellow card from referee Hyun John.
So Mikhail, the player that gets the booking for the tackle from behind.
Now this is where you want the watering of this half of the pitch at half-time to pay dividends for the home side. It's a fair distance out for a strike. We know Bratton's got it in his locker. It'll have to be a hell of a strike though to score from this distance, or rely on that slippery pitch.
Carwing Tay setting 3 in his defensive wall. Right, he's now happy with the wall. Luke Bratton, long run up. Can he get the strike spot on? Bratton hits the post, and the follow-up from Vickery is over the line. Macarthur in front. Luke Vickery might be Macarthur's hero tonight. His first 2 goals coming off the bench. at the 70-minute mark have turned it around to lead 2-1.
Well, what a miraculous goal that is. First of all, the strike from Luke Bratton. I didn't give him enough credit. That's magnificent. And then Luke Vickery follows it up with a very sharp finish. Look at that off the post. Vickery follows it up like all good players do. And he just had to get it on target. And the goalkeeper did everything in his power to stop it. In the end, he carries it over the line for what is the go-ahead goal. That's a brilliant strike from Luke Bratton. And he gets a little bit lucky there, Vickery, but he bought a ticket. He bought his own luck, and in the end, he fires the arrow that fires his team into the lead.
Oh, the 20-year-old whose footballing future, like so many of his Western United colleagues, was thrown into jeopardy when the club went into hibernation. What a pickup he's been for Macarthur. And now that might prompt activity on the bench for Taipo to chase the game. His first 2 goals in Macarthur colours. Taipo were arguing, I suspect he may have about an offside from the free kick. It definitely crossed the line, there's no doubt about that. But of course, no VAR, no goal line technology. Referee's decision is final.
Yeah, and I thought to the naked eye it was fine. I thought he timed his follow-up run very well, Vickery, but Luke Bratton fired a grenade. Luke Vickery fired an arrow. It gets their team ahead in what could be a very, very crucial goal.
Philip Chan looking up at 2 opponents. He's got Jan in support. Jan pushes it through a gap. Fernando holding up the play. Chan, Tempelkovsky. Oh, tried to put himself on the Puskas shortlist, but he got nothing but fresh air. Spectacular attempt at an overhead kick. Sawyer, good hold-up play. And then Vickery's pass here down to the corner. Will still take some defending because Caceres has made a presence.
Sawyer did brilliantly there to hold the ball up and bring Vickery into it. If Vickery could have seen Politides on this far side, Macarthur had it almost a one-on-one situation. Game really starting to open up now. You sense Taipo will give more opportunities to Macarthur. Can the home side take their chances?
Can they establish a buffer? Can they score a third? Caceres. Both teams preparing to make a substitution at the next break in play. Rose, Vickery's on a hat-trick. Vickery went for it on the impossible angle. Perhaps could have shot a little earlier, but he had a teammate treading on his toes. Instead, it's just a corner. And perhaps Taipo will hold off on their substitution for that reason. It's Lucas Silva, the 35-year-old Brazilian, who is waiting to come on. But Mossy, here's the replay.
Yeah, some really good play down the right-hand side by Macarthur. In the end, Vickery kind of gets in the way of Talbot, who I thought was better placed to take that pass on. But some really promising signs from Macarthur. They sense blood in the water.
So as it shakes out, neither team is going to make the substitution due to it being a corner kick, which Bratton will take. Outswinger. Oh, and misses both Taipo defenders. Vickery, the ball just keeps following him. Grosjean, back out to the corner taker Bratton. Chimère Grosjean. Bratton on his left foot this time. Uscock stayed forward. Sawyer, the 2 giants back and forth. Appeals for handball as Uscock leaned into the header. Macarthur bench up in arms. Uscock's got to be careful not to talk himself into a red card. He's got a yellow to his name already.
He does need to be careful. Leave that argument to others. I thought in the first instance, I thought Macarthur had a fair shout for a handball there. Of course, we're not going to see VAR get involved. Here it is here. That's a handball. The hand is away from the body. It disrupts the momentum of the ball, the flight of the ball. That should have been given. The referee was in a great position to see it as well.
So Chan comes off, Philip Chan, and on comes the 35-year-old Brazilian Lucas Silva. And Oli Randazzo, the 20-year-old midfielder, There's going to be fresh legs here. What a performance from Liam Rose. Let's not forget he thundered that shot into the crossbar earlier in this half. It has been quite prominent in general play.
Outstanding performance, Liam Rose. He was busy on the ball, he was tidy on the ball, he was strong in defence. Fantastic performance.
And Gabriel Cividini is the lucky defender who does not send his opposition to the penalty spot. Instead, the game remains in the balance. 2-1, 15 minutes to go. So, the Brazilian veterans, 39-year-old Fernando, 35-year-old Lucas Silva, have entered the game. It's actually Lucas Silva's second stint at Taipo. He was there 5 years ago in 2020, has since been back to his native Brazil, has been to a couple of clubs in Malaysia, and then rejoined in November, no doubt with this campaign in mind. And they've planted him in the left side of their attack for now, so the ball's on the opposite side of the pitch. Valverde can protest, but no free kick coming his way. Talbot trying to set Vickery away as the ball bounces over the line away from Vickery and Weverton.
You do sense the scoring is not done yet, Teo. There's more goals in this game. That's the optimist in me, maybe. But it's just got that feel.
Well, if the scoreline does hold, though, Macarthur will be on 10 points. Kongan, Hanoi and Beijing Guan on 5 each, and then Taipo would remain on 4. So we see Caceres extract the ball and take it away to the corner. He's still got Cividini on his case, hangs it high. Grosjean contested. Politidis takes a touch and now tries to break wide. He's got Fernando following him, though. Harry Politidis wheeling back around. And through the back of the legs. Mikhail's got to be careful on a yellow card here. And I know we've had a lenient referee, but Mikhail's on the tightrope. It's a free kick.
He is, and it's a free kick in a good area. Credit to Anthony Caceres as we see the foul on Shima Grosjean. Caceres kept the ball in a very tight area. Harry Sawyer did well. Politidis injected himself. And the pressure remains on Taipo.
So Luke Bratton's last free kick went thundering into the left-hand post. It was then followed in by Luke Vickery to score. This is on a more acute angle, but Bratton will still be fancying himself. The goalkeeper's going to show him the top left corner. 2 in the wall. Does Bratton want a teammate or the target? Oh, there's some byplay at the top of the box. Yerman's back up, the assistant's flagging, and the central referee has seen the flag. It's offside.
He went for the delivery, Luke Bratton, into a good area. It was Harry Sawyer who challenged the goalkeeper, fairly, I thought.
Here's another look.
I don't see an offside there.
And then you had Matt Yerman just wrestling Weverton in the background for fun.
I must admit, it is difficult, isn't it, when we've got VAR in our local competition to then go into games in the ACL2 that doesn't have VAR.
And Valverde denied the ball by Bratton. However, Taipo still have an attacking half throw-in. Fernando hit the side netting with a long shot earlier in the half, but not able to drive his team forward here. Randazzo, good first touch, able to open up the pitch for him as he rolled away. Talbot. Quick 1-2 with Vickery. Caceres and Grosjean.
Some of their football tonight in tight areas, Macarthur, has been fantastic to watch. 1 and 2 touch. Back to play. They've bounced to someone who's facing the play. We see another foul, this time on Callum Talbot, who drove infield.
Weverton is the player blown up for it, just as Taipo thought they'd won the ball back.
Yeah, you see here Talbot involved, and he takes a return pass, drives infield. Weverton doesn't give him up, and then he slides in from behind and beside.
Dean Bosniak has gone down to stand next to the fourth official, but if Talbot's got an ailment, then they might have to shelve those plans and think about a different sub. The trainers have been told not to enter the pitch. They don't want it to be 10 versus 11 even for one phase of play here, Macarthur. And with Talbot back on his feet, Bosniak's coming on, but it is for Shime Grosjean. And safe to say, Mossy, Grosjean has whet the appetite for what he might be able to do. We've seen him score, we've seen him contribute to Macarthur wins, but tonight has been, I think, by far his most prominent contribution to general play.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think tonight he's actually taken the initiative, been proactive, gone looking for the ball. And maybe that's in discussions with Millet Stojovski and the coaching staff, free a licence. But yeah, his output tonight has definitely been the best of his time in a Macarthur shirt.
So another young attacking midfielder, Dean Bosniak, comes on as Grosjean gets high fives on the sideline from all his remaining subs. And Luke Bratton, this is more familiar territory to the free kick which he put into the post. Will it be third time lucky for the Macarthur skipper? Again off the long run-up. Bratton, let's rip. Catches a big deflection and takes it out. And Weverton in the wars.
It was Weverton who gave the foul away, and then he copped it off the strike from Bratton. Gee, he packs some punch behind those strikes, doesn't he? That's brave from Weverton to cop that on the noggin. Still sure he felt the sense of responsibility to clear the danger, having given the foul away.
Luke Bratton going at walking pace over to the corner. The clock slowly but surely moving into Macarthur's favour. Of course, if they win this game, they're through to the knockout rounds. If it's a draw later tonight between Kongan Hanoi and Beijing Guan, they top the group with a game to go. Corner taken short. Bratton. Caceres there with him, and the byline trying to wiggle away in a sea of legs. Bratton whips it back in, dealt with it at the near post by Cividini, but only at the expense of another corner. Rueful shake of the head from the Brazilian defender, perhaps realising that Macarthur are on top and not letting them out of their clutches just yet. Counter has been Taipo's method all night, though. Defend this corner and break. That'll be the plan. Bratton, flatter, and an easy catch for Coing Say, who's on for him, though. Valverde goes sprinting ahead of the ball, but the distribution is short instead. Cividini, now he's looking for Valverde. Randazzo right there with him, as is Bosniak, and Macarthur have got the numbers. Randazzo. Bosniak goes to ground in Mikhail's challenge. Valverde. Temelkovski. Looking for Lucas Silva. He's barely had a touch since coming on, so this is his time to shine. Lucas Silva down in the corner, fashions a cross. And now following onto the ball here, Lucas Silva, can he get a shot away? Blocked by Yerman. Valverde. Weverton getting forward and didn't strike it with conviction. And it goes for a goal kick.
And we've seen the fake dive from Philip Curto for the first time in a few seasons. But that was promising from Taipo. And it was Lucas Silva who was central to it. He looked really busy. You can see him there laying it off. And then the run around the back post. It was Luke Vickery that got caught out ball watching. That could have spelt more danger than what it ended up being for Macarthur. They need to stay concentrated here, and one would sense with Taipo's ability to counter-attack, Macarthur need another goal to secure the result.
Pile up of bodies in midfield, straight down to Say in goal. Saw the close-up of Lucas Silva there with the checkered flag on his neck. And as you say, Mossy, the finish line isn't in sight just yet for the home side. Solid midfield play from Vickery to hold his ground, winning the ball back. Yerman, Fernando pressing him. Yerman sends the ball long down to the corner. Bosniak, fresh off the bench, able to rake the ball in, keep the attack going. Politidis. Caceres to Bratton. Randazzo. Caceres. There's got Bosniak there in support. Caceres has got two opponents trying to stifle his progress, but it is going to be a Macarthur throw-in.
Yeah, that's clever from Macarthur. They're managing the late stages of this game well. Some really positive 1- and 2-touch passing, keeping the ball in good areas. Not suggesting they can start going to the corner flags just yet.
Samukovsky, step over pass, but his teammate wasn't breaking forward onto the ball in Valverde. Sawyer. Caceres almost waiting for his opponent to engage, but it has found its way out for a goal kick. Well played by Chupanyan. Lee Chi Kin watching his team chase the game, not seemingly reaching for any more subs. High, hopeful ball. Fielded by Curto. And for Taipo, it is worth mentioning that if there is a winner between Kongan Hanoi and Beijing Guan, they will be out tonight. So if this result stands and the other game does not finish in a draw, they will be stuck a minimum of 4 points out of second place. So they do need an equaliser here. So we see a little ankle tap on Daciel.
Tell you what, you can cut the tension with a knife here at Campbelltown Sports Stadium.
Second game in a row was a pretty hot end to the game against Kongan Hanoi as well, as Macarthur emerged winners by the same scoreline as we have right now. Taipo trying to change all that. Lucas Silva, big turning circle from the big man. Mikhail. Patrick, a loose touch, but he gets the ball back under duress, however. Caceres right there with him. Patrick went to ground, bounced right back up and kept the ball at his feet the whole time. However, his pass is conceding some 20 metres. Weverton. Igor Sartori. Weverton, a tired pass at the end of an intense night. Mikhail. Bit of space to work with here for Patrick. And go to work he does. It's Patrick Valverde! Great save by Curto!
Right, cometh the hour, cometh the man. Philip Curto with a big save. Good strike from Patrick. That is a big save from Philip Curto. It was hit with some power. As we see, this is a great angle. Look at that. That is nestling inside that back post. Philip Curto gets across well, palms it into a safe area.
Looks like Gabriel Sibadini might have been thrown forward. At least when Taipo are in possession. They're trying to set a trap here. Macarthur waiting to find out how many minutes of stoppage there will be. Politides gets a yellow card for time wasting. And there will be 4 additional minutes to end the night. As things stand, Macarthur are progressing to the knockout rounds. Nyan. Both teams think it's their throw. Macarthur get the nod.
Well, Matt Yerman used all his influencing skills there on the assistant referee as we see Macarthur go to the bench.
And Anthony Caceres, you see him being harried and harassed to get off the field as quickly as possible, but he's going to leave at his own pace. And Bernardo Oliveira is going to come on for stoppage time here. And it's been another busy night for the Socceroos hopeful Caceres. And Bernardo continuing to build his minutes after an injury hit off season. Gets a few vital ones here and a touch straight away. Bosniak. Vickery. Sibadini won the ball. Weverton. Free kick. Randazzo protests, but this is a big moment here for Taipo and the keeper. He's already coming up, and I think he's been waved off by his coaching staff to at least wait at halfway.
Gee, that could have gone either way, that decision. I thought play on would have been fair enough.
And the free kick was taken quickly, but they're going to get a do-over. Fernando. Sibadini's header, offside flag is up. What a waste for Taipo. Almost half of stoppage time has now expired. Worth remembering that we went a good minute over in the first half, and well, at a set piece, that's just loose play from the visiting team that sees that opportunity go to waste. Yeah, a slap of the turf indeed. The Taipo bench watching on. You can see the tension written on their faces. Without an equaliser, it's out of their hands as of tonight. And they'll be hoping for a favourable result in Vietnam in a couple of hours' time. Sibadini rises high. Taipo trying to will the ball forward by any means necessary. Igor dragged it away, but he's forced to go backwards. Say, first time clearance. Talbot sets himself, and out it goes for a throw. So it's going to have to be a last-minute special here from Taipo if they are to grab a point. Yerman sinks the slipper. Daciel, a difficult header to win. Sawyer making his life hard on the fall of the ball, but it has found its way to Weverton, and he wins a free kick. Everything's got to go right from here for Taipo. Again, numbers committed forward. Taipo fans as vocal as they've been all game. Hoping for one last special moment. Free kick taken short by Fernando. He takes the meters on offer. Bends it into the box off the head of Yerman. And that will lead us to the end of stoppage time. How generous is the referee feeling? Enough time to take the throw in for Taipo. And Patrick can't outfox his opponent. It's out for a goal kick. Philip Curto's going to take his time here. He's gone and fumbled the ball over the perimeter fence. And I think he's telling the ball kids, don't give me another one. They give him 2.
What's she running the clock for still? Clock 4. Time's over.
Macarthur bench having their say. Is this the last kick of the night from Curto? Is it progression secured for Macarthur?
Finish! Finish! Bravo!
Macarthur FC are through to the knockout rounds of the AFC Champions League Two. 3 wins from 3 at home, and it's their 20-year-old young gun, Luke Vickery, with his first 2 goals for the club. And they have pulled off a come-from-behind win. Taipo are on the precipice of elimination, but Macarthur will be in the knockout rounds of continental football. Taipo put up an almighty battle. They had the lead until the early minutes of the second half. And then Luke Vickery popped up with the equaliser with a big deflected strike. And then he followed in a Luke Bratton free kick that struck the woodwork and was first to respond, squeezing it over the line. Taipo put everything into this match and they chased willfully, but it looks almost certain that they will be eliminated from here. They could be out as soon as the early hours of tomorrow morning. For Macarthur, though, they take care of their home ground in the group stage. 3-0 against Beijing Guoan and consecutive 2-1 wins. And that's the score that we have at the end of this one tonight. Macarthur FC 2, Taipo 1. And Luke Vickery will be the talk of Macarthur tonight and heading into the weekend. They have a short turnaround. They're playing the Perth Glory back here at Campbelltown Stadium on Sunday. And Taipo, of course, have their league title to go and pursue in Hong Kong should they be eliminated tonight. They're going to go and thank their fans. On behalf of Phil Moss, my name's Teo Pellizzeri. Thanks for your company on this one. We hope you've enjoyed the Champions League 2 tonight.
Just wait for me, mate. 1 minute again, Kenny? 1 minute again? Yeah.